Hello, hello, and welcome to Data Source. How are we all doing today? Sure, we're doing great. Right, today we'll be looking at something that is a bit complex but has lots of uses, and it's something that if we know how to do it, it would help us to be able to aggregate data on Excel and on Google Sheets. So I'm on Google Sheets now. I'm using Google Sheets for this. So let's jump right in. I'll just introduce the data we have here. We have all the countries in the world and their population density. Population density is the number of people per square kilometer. We have that here, and here we have data that I got from a website. So this website that has it broke down density into moderate, low, and extremely low. This is based on data from India. It was shared by Shrimty Shard. So I just extracted the information I wanted and I got this classification. So less than 100, it's extremely low density, 101 to 250 low density, 251, and all that. So what I want us to do is to get a density classification. So create a density classification column, and then we'll use the density information to get this density classification column. So I think there are probably another way to do this, but what we're going to use is using ifs and. So if statement is a way to get something, and if you don't get that thing, then there's a way out. So that's like, then there's something else. So I can give an example. If I want to go out today and then rain falls, I can then say, okay, I would read a book at home, and say I don't have a book at home, then I'll play a game on my phone. And say I don't have a game on my phone. So you get the picture. If what I want is not available, then there's something else. If that thing is not available, then there's something else. So the if statement on Excel, you start with equal to, is usually for one statement. You have if, you have the logical expression, and if that thing is true, then it gives you a value, and if it is false, then you have another value. For example, in this case, I've selected if, and so I want to say if this B2 now is, if it's less than, let's say if it is less than 100, right, then the value I want is extremely low density, right? But if not, then the value I want is, say, high density. High density. I can type it here, high density. Then CT. Alright. Then I can close that. Hit enter. So this is high density. But this if is just for two arguments. If what I want is not it, so let me take it back. So if B2 is less than 100, then it's extremely low. But if it's not extremely low, there's only one argument, high density. So I can't like put layers into it. So there's if it's not less than, if it's greater than 100, I can't put, okay, how about it is less than 250, and it should be low density. How about, okay, it's greater than 250, so you get the drift. So I can't use if for this classification, because there are multiple layers to the classification. So then I will change this to ifs. So I use ifs. So you can see the description here returns a value depending on multiple logical expressions. All right, so I put the bracket. So the first condition is what I want, then the value, then second condition, then value, then third condition, then value, and so on. So I don't want to see this, so it's blocking my data. I don't want to see it for now. So the first condition is if this, right, is less than 100. Alright, but I don't think that, so of course this classification is less than 100, but I think I want it to be less than 101, because I expect that extreme low density should be from 1 to 100, although this is less than 100. But usually some of these classifications are not, they don't include the last value, so I want to include the last value here. So if it's less than 101, then it will be extremely low density, right? Then the next argument, so now there are two arguments. I want it if it is greater than 101 but less than 250. Right, so that argument is a bit tough to make. Why? Because there are two arguments in one. So let me just open this so we can see all of this. So now the second argument I want to put here, well, I can't put b2 less than 101 and greater than. So there's a formula that we use, is and. That's why this is ifs and right? So I'm just going to put and this is going to be a long video. And so then I include the expression I want. So I want, this is b2 now, that's the column I'm looking at, b2. I want it to be greater than 100. So greater than 100, but I also want it to be less than, 251. Alright, less than 251. Okay, so if that condition is met, alright, then I put a comma. The value I want is low density. Okay, and see what Google Sheets has already done. It has already identified that this particular column falls under low density, but I don't want to stop there. I want to classify everything. So I put a comma again. So I put a third condition, and so I have to use and. No, I want to use and. So I want to use and what I want now is b2, which is the cell I'm interested in. It's now greater than 250, right? So that's from 251, and so on. Greater than 250, but it is less than 501. So that's like 500, because it's 251 to 500, so less than 501. So I close the bracket. So that has included that argument. What value do I want? I want moderate density. Alright, I move to the next argument for high density. So I use and again, and okay, and b2, I want it to now be greater than 500 but less than 1001. Right, so greater than 500, no, not 300, 500, but b2 is less than 1001. Alright, so if that is the case, then what value do I want? I want high density. Alright, so the last argument is for B2 greater than 1000. So that's from 1001, 1002, 1003. So I want that value to be very high density. So I can close this bracket and I have my very long formula there. I hit enter and it told me that the answer is low density. So I just drag this down. Oh wow, it did not drag down. So see what happened. So of course it worked for this. This is low density, right? It is between 101 and 250. But for this, notice this value I want. Instead of it to be F2, right? So I mean this is F2 column F row 2. Instead of like this is 101, if it's less than 100, it should be low density, but instead it should be extremely low density. Instead it's low density. So it's shifting the values by 1, and this is because we did not, how do you put this, hold this in place. So there's something we can do to hold this our classification in place such that it doesn't move it downwards, that it's moving the order. So note that this is now B3. Before it was B2. Everything has changed to B3. So as it's moving this down, it's also moving this down, but we don't want this to move down. So to solve that, I use the $sign. So I put, so this from this F2, and I put a $sign before the F. So what this does is to hold that column in place, but I don't just want that column, I want that cell. So I put another $sign. So F2 is held in place. So now I put a $sign for F3. So F3 is held in place. Put a $sign for F4. So F4 is held in place. Put a $sign for F5. So F5 is also held in place. Then lastly I put a $sign for F6. So F6 is held in place. So now it doesn't shift it when it moves downward. So I have this, everything is held in place. I just double tap. Okay, that didn't work this time, so I guess I have to drag it. Okay, so I mean this is accurate. Low density for Indonesia 101 to 250. So let me see if I double tap if it will work this time. Okay, so I think because the other value is already there, so we can see that this works. In United States, extremely low density. Nigeria, low density. Let's see any high density. Oh, lots of extremely low density. No high. Oh, see high density. Where's high density? High density for Rwanda. So yeah, we can see that we've classified our data, and why this is helpful, we can then have a sweet plot. So I'm just going to add a plot here. I'm going to insert a chart, and we have a pie chart. So I'm just going to reduce the size of that, so we can see our density distribution. Alright, so we can see that most of the countries are extremely low density. Then we have moderately moderate density, low density, high density. We can see the distribution of the density. Alright, so hopefully this has been helpful to classify your data, and to get better classification of your data. So that's using ifs and and. So yeah, thank you for watching, and come again, like, share, subscribe. Yeah, bye for now.